Alright, Helldivers, welcome back. Today we're going to be going through all the Warbonds and we're going to be ranking them in a tier list. This is mostly going to be for, I would say, new players, maybe players that don't have all the Warbonds, or maybe you don't have enough super credits and you're kind of like me where, you know, a form of progression in this game is collecting super credits to then unlock the Warbonds. So I'm going to go through them all, I'm going to rank them for you, and you're going to notice as I'm, going through them on the screen here, that I don't have all of them unlocked. That's because this is my Steam account. I have my PlayStation account where I have everything unlocked. So I'm basically going through the same process again. And this kind of helped me put this list together because I'm definitely prioritizing certain Warbonds over other ones because I find them more useful. So this should be very helpful for people in a similar position as me. And even if you're a veteran of this, maybe you'll just get a kick out of, seeing where these Warbonds land for me. Anyways, also a little bit of a different angle today. My wife got me this right here and it was very nice of her. So I actually just want to change up the setting a little bit to show that off. But yeah, let's get into the list. All right, and we're just going to go straight down the list of when these were released. And the first one is the Steel Veterans here. Steel Veterans has a lot of great weapons. First off, you got the revolver here, the Senator. Oof, talk about a stylish secondary. Now when this thing first was released, this secondary sucked. And the biggest issue with it was the fact that when you emptied all your rounds, you had to reload one round at a time instead of just sticking the whole ring in there. Anyways, they fixed it, fantastic. And now basically it can chew through everything if you shoot it enough times. You also have the Concussive Liberator, not my favorite weapon, but it is better now. I would say it's a decent to good pick. I'm not going to talk too much about the armors in general, but this one does have a very, I would say, useful kit for a lot of different builds and loadouts because that 50% limb health there helps a lot with survivability. Also, the throw range, very, very good with this as well. So some of the armor kits here are going to be a little more niche, but just know that this armor set here is actually very good. And then on the second page here, you have an excellent, the Incendiary Breaker here. I'm surprised this hasn't had the ammo nerf reverted, but overall, this is still an excellent weapon, especially against the bugs. Still a very, very good choice. You also get the Incendiary Grenade here. This is okay. It's a decent pick. It's a grenade. Not too much value in that one, I would say. And then obviously just more armor skins. Those are kind of like subjective, up to you how you like them. But last page here, we get one of the best weapons in the game, and that is the Jar 5 Dominator here. This thing just shreds. This thing's really good overall, especially against the bots, bugs too. This is just a workhorse weapon. You can just keep this on and just have a good time. I love the Jar. It's got a little bit of a kick. Got to get a little bit used to it, but overall, very, very good. The booster here, reduce time for new reinforcements. This only works when you deplete your reinforcements and then you get basically one reinforcement at a time. It's a okay booster. I don't put too much stock into the booster. The main thing about these Warbonds that I care about are the weapons, and then sometimes the armor passive and the boosters, they can add like a little bit to it, but the weapons are what are going to be like basically most heavily weighted with this tier list. So with the Steel Veterans here, I think it's enough to put this one in a solid A tier position. You're getting a lot of useful weapons. Again, the armor perk is actually pretty nice. So I think this one sticks in A tier for me. And then moving on to Cutting Edge. This is the second one here. Cutting Edge, we get the Sickle. Oh, this gun is so good that I hate picking it because of just how quickly it shreds things. It's too good. It's too good that you pick it and you kind of feel bad, like, damn, I am just demolishing everything. The booster here, increased time between enemy encounters. It's honestly, I don't see anybody ever pick this, so I don't know how much testing has gone into this. I've never actually used it, so take that for what it is. But again, not the biggest thing that I weight with these Warbonds. Armor passive wise, 95% resistance to arc damage. It's basically useless. It's very niche. You have to basically have your entire team run arc blitzers or the arc thrower to have this passive be kind of like useful, because if a lightning bolt jumps between enemies and it hits you, again, that 95 resistance, really helpful. Other than that, there's no point, if you were going an arc build, there's no point of you going with the arc resistance. This is basically just to make sure you don't kill your allies in like a friendly fire. Would it help with a Tesla tower? Sure, but those are so easy to avoid. Anyways, very niche armor wise. I'm not gonna like deduct points too heavily for the armor passive. I'm just saying you're not getting much value out of this armor passive here. Stylistically, that's up to you. Second page here, stun grenade. This is a fantastic grenade. Just the utility that it brings, how it pairs with certain weapons, say like the flamethrower or the railgun, or anytime you need to lock down an enemy. You know, I think it's just, I don't think it does, it's not going to stun like a Bile Titan, but a Charger, a Hulk. Yes, this thing is fantastic. This is probably like, I don't know, S tier grenade if we want to go down a grenade tier list, but we're not doing that here. And then the Plasma Punisher here. It's essentially a grenade launcher, like a plasma grenade launcher. It's kind of like how it functions with its arc. Medium penetration, explosive. This is a fantastic gun as well. So you already have basically probably an S tier sickle, lads. This thing is like fantastic for light armor penetration. And now you have a very unique and really, again, a versatile weapon here with the Plasma Punisher. This thing's also fantastic. And then on the last page here, you probably have one of the best weapons versus the bugs. Just its ability to stun lock. This is the Blitzer, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But its ability to stun lock, never runs out of ammo. It does really good damage. This thing is also like an A S tier pick. Just a fantastic weapon here. And then the Las Dagger. I know some people like this. Fucking hate this gun. I do not like the Las scythe or the dagger. It doesn't gel with me. But I'm not deducting many points for the secondary because it is just a secondary. The main thing with this one is the 3 primary weapons, and because of that, the cutting edge Warbond here, it goes into S tier easily. Next up here, we have the Democratic Detonation. Ooh, this is a good one here. So first one thing you get on this first page here is the Adjudicator. Now this is a pretty nice assault rifle. When it first came out, it wasn't very good, but they tweaked it a bit. Magazine size a little bit higher, damage is pretty good as well. It's got a little bit of kick to it, but if you get used to the kick, yeah, this is a very, very reliable weapon. Really good overall. I would say it's just like a solid B, maybe low A tier weapon. The armor passive that you get here is the engineering kit. This actually is not this Warbond specific like the other two are. So you can get this passive effect armor kit from other armors that are free or come from the free Warbond. But the main thing on this page is the thermite here. This thing's fantastic. This thing does everything essentially. This is that you take this and it basically frees up your loadout to take anything that you find fun that maybe not super viable or like a meta pick. The thermite here has you covered. This thing just so much goddamn damage. It's so good. Just throw it at Charger's head or throw it at Hulk, and then this thing will just take it out on its own. So thermite, really, really good. Okay, and then the next page here, we got the Eruptor. The Eruptor is essentially the only like bolt action sniper we have in this game. Now, the range on it isn't the greatest. I think it's like 60 meters that it explodes, but for me, 60 meters, that's plenty of range in this game, essentially, especially if you go into something like a bug mission with like a lot of gloom, or a bot mission where there's like a fog and then there's always terrain in the way. So the range, I don't think is too much of an issue, but overall, this is a fantastic weapon as well, especially long range. And this is just it's a unique weapon because it's like one of a kind at the moment. So also a really, really good pick here. And then we have the booster, lowers the time to extraction. This can be helpful. You know, I'm not going to say it's the worst thing, but it's, hey baby, you making an appearance? Hi. Here's a mouth kiss. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll play later. Bye. As I was saying, this booster, it's okay. It's not really, again, boosters are, I feel like there are basically like a set 5 boosters that are like the just go-to pick that gives you the most benefit to your team. I don't think this is necessarily one of them. So again, not weighing this too heavily against the Warbond. It's an okay booster. And then on the last page here, we have the grenade pistol. This is one of the best sidearms in the game, just for its ability to close bug holes and its explosive damage. It's a nice utility pick to cover, kind of round out a loadout to make sure you have something for those fabricators. And then if you need to use it as like a last resort weapon for damage, it's pretty good at that too. And then the last primary weapon here is the exploding crossbow. This is an S tier weapon for me. I really love how this weapon functions. One-handed, you can run and gun with it. Explosive, 620 damage. This thing's amazing. This is a really, really good primary. So overall, this Warbond, I'm also going to put it in S tier. There's just so many things in this Warbond that are just really just top of the line. You got the thermite there, grenade pistol, crossbow. This the Eruptor's really good. The Adjudicator's very solid. I think you get so much value out of this Warbond in general. So yeah, that's why I'm sticking it in S tier. Now moving on to a personal favorite of mine, and that is the Polar Patriots. Now the Polar Patriots, It's probably one of the first Warbonds that came out, and it was just all shitty, I would say. Well, it really wasn't that good. It also gives you the servo assisted perk here. This was exclusive to the first Sealed Veterans Warbond, but you get it here as well, so you can take that as you may. But the first weapon here is the Tenderizer, kind of like the Adjudicator, where this is just a solid pick overall. The only thing that's really against this thing is the fact that the ammo capacity there is only 35, and then it's light armor penetration. The Adjudicator, if you put these two side by side, pretty similar, except for that Adjudicator does that medium penetration, so that one's a little bit higher than I would say the Tenderizer, but the Tenderizer is still a fantastic weapon and also looks cool as hell. But on the next page there, we get the Pummeler. I love the Pummeler. This thing, I bought the Warbond just for the Pummeler, and I was singing its praises, and I still sing its praises. This is a great SMG. It's slowdown effect, it's lockdown effect, and then the damage is pretty decent as well. It's one-handed. It looks so good. It looks so good. I love the design of this weapon. So this is a great pick for an SMG. The second armor here, yeah, I think this is fortified. Yeah, this is good armor passive on it if you don't have it, but again, armor passive, kind of up to you. And then we have the Incendiary Impact. This is a decent grenade. You know, I don't find myself using it too often, but it's at least good. It's usable. And then the last page here, let's talk about the Verdict first. The Verdict, ooh man, thank God they changed this weapon. This used to not be medium penetration, so it was kind of like a Peacemaker that did a little bit more damage, but the ammo capacity was a little bit lower. Now it does that medium penetration. This is a very solid sidearm. I actually find myself using this a lot if I'm not using the grenade pistol. I tend to just use this. I like the design of it. It looks like they're going for, you know, you wanted this to be a Desert Eagle, and this might be the closest thing we get to it. Obviously the design's not perfectly aligned to that. It looks more like it's kind of got that design. Anywho, very, very solid sidearm here, but the real ticket item here is that I really want to talk about is the Purifier. This, just like the crossbow, this is an S tier weapon for me. This thing is so freaking good, and I love the playstyle of it. The fact that you have that semi-automatic functionality with it, and then if you want to, you can have that charge up effect with it as well, and it does a crap ton of damage, a little bit of an AoE. You might kill yourself if you shoot something too close, but this thing is just such a fantastic weapon. I take this weapon and the crossbow, and then I don't feel the need to bring a stratagem weapon, especially just for chaff clear, because those two weapons just do such a goddamn good job. So Purifier, fantastic here. But overall, with the whole Warbond here, I would say that maybe the Pummeler and the Tenderizer, they're really good. I'm going to put this in A tier, but because those two aren't like top of the line picks, and it just doesn't have that extra thing like that Thermite or that stun grenade or grenade pistol, I think it's an A tier. A tier is still like amazing, by the way. So I'm sticking the Polar Patriots in A tier. And then the Viper Commandos here. So this is when Arrowhead started to change up the formula as far as like how many primary weapons we got, and they started adding in skins to our like drop pod and our drop ship, and then our mechs as well. So these ones I kind of they get weighted a little bit, or they just don't have as much as, or what I'm really looking for, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Armor wise, I think this is one of the best looking armors if that's what you're into. Peak physique is it's decent. The 50% melee damage is not useful right now. Will that change in the future? Maybe, but just the increased handling it's noticeable. It's nice. It's just I'm more interested in how the armor looks when it comes to this Warbond, and luckily the armor it's sick. But weapon wise, carbine, not my favorite pick at all. Not a great weapon in my opinion. It's just like very average, I would say. So not my favorite pick here. And then the next page we get the Bushwhacker. Luckily, the Bushwhacker is actually pretty decent. I would love to if this thing was also a medium armor penetration, but it does a pretty good job. It's a lot of damage, and then you can change the rate of fire to fire all 3 shells at once, which is just like this huge just chunk of burst damage. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty decent. I like that about it. And then obviously you have the armor here, which looks really cool. They're all peak physique with this Warbond. And then on the last page, I haven't really mentioned emotes and stuff, guys. That's entirely up to you. It's not really something I look forward to in these Warbonds. They're more like, again, little tiny nice additions to it. Really, we want to talk about the weapons. And then the last page here, you just get the knife. The knife is a meme. We all know it. It's fun to use. What would be really sick with the knife is, one, if you could pick up the knives or take them out of enemies like dead bodies and corpses. That would be really cool to kind of have like this knife thrower build. but you only get like 8 of them. Let's do it. If you're not going to let us pick up our knives, bump that up to like 30 knives that we're holding. And yeah, you just go to town, just throwing knives all over the goddamn place. But right now as it stands, it's a meme weapon. It's all style. So if you really like the style of this Warbond, then obviously get it. But as far as like the tools that you actually get, nothing's really that fantastic. Experimental infusion here. This is actually this is one of the 5 Warbonds, boosters that I would take. If nobody's taking it, this is a really good booster. But if you're just looking at a booster for the Warbond and that's kind of stand out, so for me with this one, I think I have to put it in C tier. It's very niche, you know. I think C tier. Yeah, there's just nothing in this Warbond that I'd say would be like a must pick for like every build. You know, you kind of gotta really work to get some of these weapons in there. And again, the armor style is really cool. It's just, yeah, I think the other ones is you're just gonna get more bang for your buck. So I think I'm sticking this one in C tier. And moving on, we have Freedom's Flame Warbond. God, this came out at a very contentious time for the game, and thank God we've kind of bounced back from that. But this Warbond, the cookout here, this is a pretty good shotgun. It does that fire damage, and it's a pump action, so it's kind of given us it's filled that niche as far as our weapons. And this is a good shotgun, very solid overall. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. It's just solid. Armor wise, this is actually a pretty good armor passive if you are going to be doing a lot of fire stuff. The 75% damage resistance is pretty fantastic. If you are somebody who gets caught on fire a lot of the times when you're using those flame stuff, like myself, then this passive just makes the game or the mission a little bit more comfortable. So definitely a good passive there. And then moving on to the next page, the Torture. Torture's really freaking good. I love the Torture. This thing feels fantastic. It feels so good that I don't really like taking the stratagem weapon flamethrower anymore, because I'm like, I could just bring the Torture. So Torture overall really good, really fun gun. The fact that it is our only primary flamethrower type. It was the only special weapon, but now they added what did they add to this special weapon category with this? The Dominator, I think? Not important. Anyways, Torture, really good, really good. And then yeah, the rest of this page, just, more armor, the skin, take it or leave it. But the last page here, we get the Crisper. This is also a pretty good sidearm. It does do a lot of damage. It is a nice one to take out, spray, kind of leave a trail of fire, or hit them directly. I think 2 canisters, maybe 1 kills a charger if you are getting him in a weak spot. So this is a very solid pick. Not my favorite, but if you are doing like something like a Mandalorian build and you want a flamethrower, this is a great pick for that. The Firebomb Hellpot. I might deduct points from this Warbond because of this stupid booster. I hate this booster, especially when you have somebody join late on your team and they pick this booster and you didn't know it was coming and this thing just kills you. Fuck, I hate this thing. I hate this booster. It's such a dumb booster. If you are not aware of this booster being equipped and you are playing, God, you're going to at least get killed once by it and be like, son of a bitch, who brought that? So this booster, goddamn this booster. But Freedom Flames overall, I'm putting in B tier. I think it's very solid. All the weapons here are at least really good or good, somewhere around there. They are kind of stylistically around fire, so if that's not your cup of tea, then obviously maybe you'd slip this into C tier as more niche, but I think this sits comfortably in B tier. Chemical Warbond. Now this one, so this is when they reworked gas, and then you get this 80% gas damage resistance here with this armor. I don't really think this is actually necessary. I don't think gas kills you that fast. It's not like fire, so I think this passive is kind of useless at the moment. But the gas grenade, the gas effect, it disorients enemies now while doing a little bit of tick damage. It's actually really good for a little bit of crowd control. So I think the gas effect overall is a lot better than it was before, and this Warbond's basically all about that. So this grenade is actually pretty solid, and then the armor set, again, take it or leave it. But on the next page here, we get our first stratagem weapon, which is locked behind a Warbond, and that's the Sterilizer. Sterilizer is pretty good, but it is more of a crowd control, almost like a support. And, there's always that discussion of, well, wouldn't you rather just be killing the enemies really fast rather than wasting a stratagem weapon slot on this? So kind of a niche pick with this weapon. It does do a pretty decent job. I just don't see too many people picking it. I would maybe just rather take a grenade rather than, committing to a full stratagem weapon to get that gas effect. And then on the last page here, we get the stim pistol. Man, this thing is not as good as it should be. I feel like they need to maybe take this one back to the workshop and change how the stims that are shot from this weapon, how they, I guess, interact with our Helldivers, because we go from 100 to like 0 health pretty instantly. Maybe this thing needs to give you like a duration of like health regen over like 30 seconds. Maybe it adds a little bit of resistance to you again for like 30 seconds. Some sort of support functionality with this other than trying to hit your targets and just hit them like a normal stim. It's a very niche weapon here. Same thing with the guard dog here. It just again shoots out that gas effect. Kind of again a niche pick. And because of the fact that these are all so niche, I'm gonna put this in D tier. And D tier for me is basically, if this is your last Warbond, then sure, get it. If you really like the chemical effect, obviously you're gonna get this anyways. But if you are like a new player or middle of the pack and you don't have all the Warbonds and you have some other ones ahead of this one, I would go with them before picking this one essentially. And that brings us to our last Warbond, and that's the Truth Enforcers. Man, I love the black and red camo paint job style for this. So let's talk about the booster first real quick here. I don't know if I talked about all the boosters, by the way, and if I skip some, that's because again, boosters I don't weigh them very heavily. But this one lets you sprint and then it slowly drains your health. It will not kill you if you are very low health. You'll just stop sprinting, but this will run you basically all the way down to very little health. That can be useful. It also can be annoying if you don't know, again, one of your teammates has it and you're running like, what the hell is hurting me? So that could be a little bit annoying. So it's an okay booster. The Halt here, this is a very unique weapon. The fact that it has those slow rounds as well as medium armor penetration, like fletchet rounds. So this is a very good shotgun. I think overall it's very unique again. So good shotgun here. It's a good pick. Again, ooh, I love the armor style here, or the skins. Anyways, next page here. The Reprimand. This I really like this weapon actually. I think it has great handling, the medium armor penetration. I think the slower fire rate combined with the only 25 in the magazine, kind of a little bit rough, but it does do 125 damage, which is pretty good for a automatic weapon. This is, again, very solid weapon, especially because it's medium armor penetration. So very good pick there. And then I forgot to mention the armor perk here. It's unflinching, so helps prevent Helldivers from flinching when hit. This is more useful, I would say, against the bots, but even then, I wouldn't pick this one over some of the other armor passives. This isn't my favorite passive. I'm usually like an engineering kit type of guy, so just know that's usually my pick. And this one, I don't see myself picking it too much. I would just pick it just for like maybe the style, but you know, it's decent. It's okay. And then on the last page here, this is a cool look. Kind of got that Imperial officer look from Star Wars. Really, they knew what they were doing with this Warbond, and I think they pulled off the theme pretty well. But the Loyalist here as a sidearm. Ooh, our first like blaster like sidearm. I love this gun. This is really good. Some people don't like it. I think it's pretty fantastic because it's kind of like a little mini purifier. I think it does its job pretty well. I would not use this thing semi-automatic only because you only have 7 rounds and you really want to make those count. So I would always charge this up. But pretty good sidearm. I like it a lot. But overall with this Warbond, I would put it into, I think, B tier. I'm going to put this one also in B tier. I think a lot of everything you get here is just pretty solid and good. I don't think a lot of it's like bad, or really any of it. Maybe the booster, I don't know. But the weapon wise, it's all pretty good overall. So yeah, that's my tier list for the Warbonds. You know, feel free to disagree or maybe point out some things that I missed. You know, I'm only one person covering this, and the whole point of these videos, especially with builds and tier list and rankings and stuff, it's to open up discussion in the community just for fun, because you know, we all like this game, so that's the point of these videos. So don't take you know, my word on everything. It's gonna just kind of just give you like a little bit of perspective of how I view some of these Warbonds and maybe what I would prioritize, again, if you're like a new player or you're middle of the pack. But anyways, that's the video. If you made it this far, you know, thank you very much. Consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We're just a small, relaxed kind of Helldivers 2 channel here. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care and peace.